Hello, Denise.
Hello there.
Hello. Can you tell me something about the beautiful exhibition you've got here?
The exhibition is called Little Woman, and it's really, I wanted to do some work about women's pain, all the horrible things that women have to put up with, and the things that they've had to put up with really through the centuries. And so I knew what I wanted to do, and I sat down and I thought really hard about the things I wanted to say, and then I had a long think about how I wanted the work to be. I've had an interest in dolls for a long time. I've made dolls when I was a child, I made them for my own children, and so I felt I was being true to myself to do dolls. And the reason I chose dolls is everybody has a real emotional response to a doll. Hate it or love it, they feel something. So I thought if I did my work with dolls, I was onto a bit of a winner really, because people were going to have a response to it either way. And I then decided how I wanted them to look, and so they have paper mâché heads, which I think were relatively important but not the most important thing. The arms and legs are insignificant, so they're very representational, and I thought the body shape was very important. Every single doll has a different body shape. So then I thought about how to clothe them, and that was important too. I wanted them to be women's textiles. Now, women have a long history of being associated with textile production. So I wanted to use textiles that had been worked on.
So tell me something about the lace. Because you're a lace maker
I'm a lace maker, that's what I am, that's what I love to do. And so I chose to use horsehair because it has this wonderful structure. If we look at this, you can actually see that it's really very, very robust. It's not stiffened with anything, and there's no wire in this. There's wire in some of it, but there's none in this. And because it's hair, you make it wet and you dry it hot, and it sets it like hair. So you can see she's got this lovely bouncy hair. And then if we go back to this one here, you can see that it's really quite substantial, really holds its structure. It's difficult to work with, and the thing is with horsehair is it only comes in a certain, obviously the length of a tail. And when you knot it, you have to be really careful, because you can only knot 2 bits of hair of the same thickness, as otherwise the knot just slips undone. So you have to be very careful how you do it, and also you have to be very careful that the ends of the horsehair some of it's very brittle, and so you have to just literally sort of fiddle with your fingers until you get to a bit that won't break easily before you knot it together. So just the preparation of it is not easy.
You cover a lot of female emotional issues, tragedies, experiences in your work.
A lot of them are issues that I've experienced in my own life. You know, I'm an older woman, so I come from a generation where they could say to you, no, you can't have the job, you're a woman. You know, and I had that said to me, even though I knew I could do the job better than the man that got the job. So I've been affected by a lot of the issues that are here. And of course, you know, you speak to people and you have friends that have suffered some of the experiences, and of course 3 of them are actually about getting older, and that's a personal experience, of course. So yes, that's really where the ideas come from, and that she wanted curls really came out of I used to have my hair highlighted, where you have that cap pulled over your head, and then with a very small crochet hook they'd stab your head every time they pulled a bit of hair through, and it was like a torture. So it's, yes, the things that women go through to look as beautiful as they can possibly look, or maybe to look how they think people think they should look. How I make the heads is I literally just screw up a ball of newspaper until I get it the rough shape that I've got, and then with masking tape I go over it and pull it into the absolute shape that I want. And then using tissue paper and a paste made from cold water and plain flour, I just apply layer and layer and layer of tissue paper, and I let it dry out. So I'll do a few layers and then I let it dry out. Now what I used to do is just leave it in the house till it dried out, and it would take several days. And then one day I was making Harry Potter wands with my grandchildren, and I thought there's no way they're going to have the patience to wait several days before they can do their next layer. So I thought I'll put it in the warming section of the oven to see what happens, and that dried it out a treat. So that's what I do now. I do a layer and I stick it in the warming oven until it dries out, and then I do enough layers, mould in the face features. I want eyebrow ridges or noses, or I think one of them I had, it did have ears, but that just too fiddly. I decided ears wasn't worth the effort really. And then I paint them with an earth friendly paint. It's actually a clay paint, and then I put on the face features and then I wax them.
So there's a lot of red in your work. Could you tell me something about that?
The reason I chose red, two reasons I chose red. One of the reasons is red actually increases your blood pressure, raises your blood pressure. So it's a colour that actually has a physical effect of your body. And the other reason is because red is the colour of blood, and blood is something that women know all about. One of the quotes says, women don't have the luxury of being squeamish about blood.
Says it all. That says it all.
One of the things that when I decided to do this piece on women's pain, and I started doing research into different things, one of the things that surprised me is the complete and utter breadth of issues that have affected women. Things like only female ballerinas dance on points, only female ballerinas have the crippled feet at the end of it. Witches, of the huge number of people that were persecuted, 80% of them were women, and most of them were over 40. So it's this huge breadth, and things that people don't always think about is the fact that it's older women that seem to get, you hear older women talk about feeling that they've become invisible once they get the other side of the menopause. That doesn't happen to men, but it happens to women. So it's this incredible breadth of the way women are treated differently to men.
What sort of response have you had to the exhibition?
I didn't know what sort of response it would be. In fact, I spent the last couple of months before this exhibition being quite nervous that people would just stick their head in and wander on by. So I had no idea how people were going to respond. But on the first day, I was totally and utterly overwhelmed to the point I could hardly speak at times by people's reaction to the exhibition. I never in my wildest dreams would I think that it would reduce people to tears, which is what I've had happen, and people telling me very intimate things about themselves because they felt inspired maybe because of the things that they've seen on the exhibition. So I think it's really touched a lot of women, and I've had people come and say it's the 6th time I've come to have a little look around your exhibition. So I'm just totally and utterly, I'm thrilled, I'm absolutely thrilled, but overwhelmed as well.
Thank you very much for your time today.
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity to talk about my work. Very much appreciated. Thank you.